Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here, back at it again with another set of D&D stories, and today we have a sponsored video brought to you by Apocalisse, John's Guide to the Armageddon for 5th edition, by Acheron Books. You'll know a little bit more about that later, but for now, let's get right into D&D players. What is the funniest skill check your party members have rolled? And if you have one that you'd like to share, please do so in the comments below. As they passed me, I had to roll a stealth check to see how quietly I was, let's just say, going number 2. I rolled a nat 20, so I wasn't noticed. Hearing the commotion happening downstairs, I used minor illusion to make the sound of many guards rushing towards the building. All the criminals started to run and jump out of the window, except one because someone in the party shot them in the leg, which led to us getting information out of them and opening up the first arc of the campaign. Thank God that wasn't me upstairs going to the bathroom because they'd hear a lot of wind breaking. And now a word from our sponsor. Are you looking for a darker pen and paper RPG that is the amalgamation of Mad Max meeting Berserk in a dark fantasy Renaissance setting with a heavy sprinkling of the Book of Revelation of St. John mixed right on in? Then you're going to be looking for Apocalisse, John's Guide to the Armageddon by Acheron Games. In this beautiful homage to religious themes, you too can embark in a sandbox adventure using Book 1 that will allow you to live in a world that is forever changing due to the biblical Armageddon, finding unique items and artifacts such as the Ark of the Covenant, the Spear of Longinus, the Rod of Moses, and more. With Book 2, it's all about the monsters, such as the Behemoth, the mighty Leviathan, and the Cherubims. And of course, Book 3 is a book of Revelation, the illustrated reprint of Revelation from the Bible in English, Latin, and Italian. Now, if you're interested in this dark fantasy world, feel free to check them out on their Kickstarter, link in the description below, which is available from the 15th of February to the 3rd of March. Happy hunting! We've had a few of these moments in our campaigns. I'll run down some of the highlights. Roll to lose concentration. In one combat, our Eldritch Knight fighter, Max Damage, yes, that was his name, was engaged in combat with someone when another party member used Control Water to flood a tunnel leading out of another room of the basement we were in. Only, they didn't specify which direction they were channeling the water, so it also flowed back into the room that we were actually in. But since Max couldn't see or hear the character who cast the spell, he didn't get a chance to drop concentration on his flame sphere before the 5-foot wall of water blasted through the room and crashed into it. Then he took damage from the steam explosion and had to roll a con save to maintain the spell, because the DM ruled that there was no reason for him to consider dropping it, as he had no idea who created the flood of water. So everyone was wanting him to fail the con save, even Max's player, but he was a fighter with proficiency in con saves and he had the Warcaster feat. So he maintained concentration until his turn came up. First time we've ever wanted to lose concentration on a spell, and he literally couldn't fail the save because his plus was higher than the DC. Yes, technically he should have been able to just drop the spell, but it was funnier this way, and we like doing the dumb. I like that term. Cats can't climb buildings after all. Leonidas, the Leonin barbarian, rolling and failing multiple athletic checks and dex saves, attempting to scale the outside of a 2-story tavern to get to the roof because, well, he couldn't find the stairs. He made it halfway up to the 2nd floor, then slipped and put his foot through a crate and got it stuck in a bag of flour, which exploded all over him when he tried to kick it off his foot. Upon successfully getting up to the 2nd floor balcony, he scared the hell out of a little old lady who was staying in that particular room, who then clocked him in the face with a half-empty wine bottle and knocked him back off the balcony. Roll to throw armor. Tartan, the Goliath barbarian. There may be a pattern developing here with barbarians. Also, this was the same player who plays Leonidas, also a barbarian. In the very first session of the campaign, decided to yeet a Goliath-sized set of leather armor across the bar, all because he overheard someone 2 tables away state that they needed armor. Hey guys, I need some armor. Take this armor! He rolled athletics to see if he could successfully throw the armor over the table where 3 seamstresses were sitting. Nat 1. Pelted one of them right in the chest and damn near broke her ribs. Yeah, I can imagine that being a really big way of breaking the ice, so to speak. Roll for bukkake. Tartan rolling and failing a con save to not explode his load over the seamstress he'd taken up to his room to make up for accidentally crushing her with the armor a few sessions before. She was, very gifted with her mouth. Ended up with a seamstress-shaped outline in the corner of the room. The tavern owner had to close the room for cleaning for a full day. That's just gross. Rotate to create chef. What? Tartan, last one from him I swear, rolling a nat 20 on an intimidation check to essentially scare an enemy we'd captured into giving up being a mercenary and becoming a chef. Well, I mean, that's one hell of a career day, let's just face it. Roll to see if you remember yourself. Delkesh, the old fire mage of bad ideas and pranks, using a combination of disguised self and mirror image to assume the appearance of the party's dragonborn fighter, Caden, and then make 3 more copies of himself. Between Delkesh's fuckery and Caden failing a con save against being drunk, this confused Caden enough that the DM had Caden roll a wisdom save to see if he could figure out which copy of him was actually himself. Well, he failed. Ended up having a nervous breakdown, which later led to him cutting his way out of an inn room, through an exterior wall, and falling from a second story into a passing merchant's cart. Roll to BDSM. There's a lot of sex jokes here. Lilith, the tiefling paladin, rolling a stupid high persuasion check to calm a male escort down, then taking him to bed, tying him up, and pegging him with her tail. Oh god, that sounds so bad. Roll to Princess Carrie. Ignacio, the elven wizard, after being tossed into the air to attack a cloaker while in Blade Song, rolled a 28 dex save to land in the arms of the last remaining enemy in the combat, which was a skeleton in a Princess Carrie, and not take any damage. Oh god, it's a cute and lovely little mwah. It's like, do you want to feel the bones? Like, yes please, I do. Players acquired special loaves of bread filled to the brim with magic mushrooms. Yeehaw. Had a player who kept eating it, and each time I made them roll a D100 for a result, not telling them that it was the madness table I was comparing the roll to. Oh, you're cruel. Depending on the number of slices the madness table I checked changed. 8 game session later, this player still has 2 effects from the infinite madness table in play. The first is that now she currently has an imaginary friend who tells her to do stuff. This friend may give slightly harmful ideas. It's the intrusive thoughts, what can I say? The second is she thinks she's the most beautiful and the best at everything, to the extent that she'll get offended if anyone infers otherwise. Ah yes, the curse of vanity. How lovely. Not a skill check per se, but I had a character roll for breast size. Dude had declared he was playing strip poker and losing, so I made the joke on the spot. Whole table was dying. DM, sobbing, exhausted, and throwing his hands up in surrender. Fine. Roll to commit tax fraud, you micro-capitalist aberration. God, that's great. Bedroom performance. Bow chicka bow wow. As a wild sorcerer who has asked me to increase the odds of his wild surges because he thought it'd be funny. Natural 1. Hilarity ensued, in addition to a custody battle over a magically conjured 3-year-old. Oh, probably the time I made an insight check by licking someone's face with my lizard folk rogue. Think of her as a funny Yoshi who just wants to make friends. By licking people and or objects, she mostly determines bad or good via pulse pheromones and whatnot. So my Goliath lass, whose name I probably will butcher, Styrgem, is a ranger barbarian multiclass. However, because of these skill checks, she took a level in Bard. Our party has gone through a few characters with Styrgem, being one of the few long-lasting ones. This has included a few bards. The first time this happened, the bards started playing their flute, rolling a 3 for performance. Delighted by the concept of music, given most of her party colleagues up to this point have been some flavor of criminals, cultists, etc., she joined in and started singing in giant folk songs for her now destroyed home. She rolled an 18. Her innocently joining in on musical performances, leading to her immediately rolling higher for performance than the bard by at least 10, became so much of a trend that we agreed she had to take level in Bard. So that's why she now has 4 levels in Ranger, 6 in Barbarian, and 1 in Bard. This one's a little long, but have fun with it. Oh, I'm sure I will. So I'm a DM, and yes, these are the same players who gave me such a heartwarming present after the first campaign I ran for them. I think I know which one that was. Here's how this funny story begins. It was between 4 people. DM, me, Artificer, player 1, Wizard, player 2, and FG, Frost Giant. Alright, you guys managed to befriend the Frost Giant. What do you do next? I want to cast Fireball. He said it jokingly, but I took it literally for the lulz. Okay, you hurl the fireball at, rolls a d8 since there were 8 players. The Artificer. Wait, no, I said it was a joke. I'm in danger. He rolled a pretty good dex save, but then he remembers he's wearing a necklace of fireballs. Uh-oh. Nope, I will not endanger my people. FG proceeds to pick up the gnome Artificer with ease and chuck him the hell away. You are allowed to remove the necklace and safely land, but you must get a high acrobatics check to do so. I will do just that! This is bitch empty! Yeet! The guy then rolls a nat 20. The DM, surprised but laughing, you manage to remove the necklace in time and land on the traveling end with robotic legs. However, you nuke the small neighboring town of Caer Dynval by throwing the necklace away. Seriously? I didn't mean to cast Fireball! It was a joke! Oh, everyone at the table was roaring with laughter as we playfully teased our blue dragonborn wizard player. It was really great. TLDR, wizard decides to throw a fireball as a joke. I, as DM, allow it. Artificer gets thrown and does a superhero landing on a tavern roof all while nuking an innocent town. I once played an awakened golden retriever during an evil-aligned one-shot. The character was effectively trying but failing to be evil while traveling with a group of necromancers. There was one combat he couldn't do much for, so I had him effectively trying to eat a stick. The DM uses exploding criticals, so if you roll a nat 20, you roll again with a plus 20 or vice versa if you roll a nat 1. I rolled a nat 1 to stealthily eat the stick, then a nat 20, then a nat 1, then a nat 20, followed by a 2. Evil Mr. Squishes, the loyal hound of Asarak, nearly died choking on a stick that he'd been told not to eat. Maybe that'll learn your lesson. There was this time my lizardfolk bounty hunter was at a ball gala with the party. After we all got nice threads and dressed up all spiffy, we went and mingled with the guests. Catherine, the local barmaid, was flirting with me and eyeing me from across the room. One party member dared me to go dance with her. The room stopped, and all the fancy pants elves moved out of the way to watch the weird lizard men and human woman take the floor. Argon was told to roll performance for the dancing. I thought, oh god, this is going to be embarrassing. But, nat 20. The DM describes the scene like the scene of Belle and Beast dancing from the old Disney animated movie. It was beautiful, and everyone was astounded and clapped for us. Even my party mates were like, didn't know a bounty hunter like you could dance, Argon. I said, I didn't know I could either. Soon after that, Catherine whispers in my ear to asking me, hey, you want to get out of here and come back to my room at my tavern? Whoa! Argon nods back and says in passing, I'll catch up with you guys tomorrow. We get back, and before we move to the next day, the DM has me roll performance for special fun time with the lady. I again think this is where I'm going to lose this woman's interest, but I get another nat 20. Apparently we went at it for hours and she was into BDSM as well. When my friends saw me the next morning with a big shit-eating grin, they just laughed and we sat down for brekkie. Meanwhile, the barmaid is winking at me and biting her lip. Fast forward 20 years later and some more time with her and getting sent through a portal that sent us into the future. I meet her again and she is married to a new man. And we have 2 half-lizard folk, half-human twins. Hell of a story, I tell you what. I'll tell you what. But I'll save that for another day. Look, don't save it for too long. I'm hungry. I need more. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA checking in after the video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell. And of course, before leaving a comment, check out our sponsor for today's video, Apocalisse, John's Guide to the Armageddon for 5th edition by Acheron Books.